All right, I think we're started here, and it is 10:01, so we should probably roll. We like to stay on time. Good morning to everyone here. My name is Gary with CloudNet 360. I'm here today with Marty Dickinson, serial entrepreneur, and today we're going to talk about publishing books. So in the last webinar we did with Marty, he talked about how you can get a book created, how to pick headlines, how to actually get it done without writing a single word, and that there's a process that he's developed to get you from nothing into a published book in a fairly short amount of time using some pretty in-depth interviews and then again some proprietary processes that he's developed. And today we're going to extend this a little further and talk about what you do after you have that book created. How do you get it onto Amazon? How do you get it to be the coveted Amazon bestseller? And the steps you have to take and the requirements to get that done. Because it's not that you just create a book and put it up onto Amazon and suddenly you have a bestseller. There's a list of things, a list of requirements that you have to do that if you follow the formula, you increase your odds greatly. If you don't follow the formula, you probably will have to get very lucky, like winning the lottery, in order to get that done. So that's the topic for today. We're going to really focus on the post-book production, getting it onto Amazon, and what you need to do to be successful on Amazon. And with that, I'll keep talking until Marty puts the mug down.
All that in about 35 minutes.
I was about to hand it over just as you picked up the mug. I had to kill some time. All right. So again, that's our topic. So good morning, Marty. I will now stop talking and I'll give you a chance.
Okay. Well, the way these all started is Gary and I would get on the phone with each other and we would start talking about things that are happening in the industry, which we do. We've known each other for a long time. And whenever we get on this topic, we wind up spending 2.5 hours on the phone with each other. And he starts thinking, gosh, I should write a book. I should write a book. We should write a CloudNet 360 Sell More Faster book. And that's how this series started, because I believe that to be true. Gary, you should have already had 3, 4, 5 books out there. And with today's modern publishing techniques, you could, by the end of this year, have 3, 4, 5 books out there. Right. And that doesn't mean they have to be low quality books either. I mean, a lot of there's a shift happening in publishing where independent publishers are now at least trying to stop looking at the publishing method as to determine or judge the quality of book, but to look at the content itself. So I encourage everybody to look at all the different options out there for publishing books, and just, you know, the method that you have to sell is right there. I call it a gem, a genuine expert method. Anybody can go out there and buy somebody else's method and use it and go make $1 million, whatever it is that the goal is, lose weight, whatever. But after a period of time, after you evolve that method and add things of your own, eventually that method becomes your own. You're doing something different now, and that is what people are buying right now. That's what people want to know, is just give me the step-by-step. How do I do it? I don't need a 400-page book out there. I need something that just gives me the steps to go through, and it's not a blog post, because you just can't put enough detail into even a 2,500-word blog post. I mean, it's got to be much more detailed than that to outline the actual process. So that's what I thought I'd offer today, is at least an introduction to the process of launching the book once you have one, because there's, oh my gosh, there are so many educational programs you can get out there. There are a lot of people promoting their book publishing services by, well, I don't know if I want to use the word guarantee, but they do. They kind of guarantee it through showing you all these examples, bestseller, 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 and then what if you follow the launches of how these are claimed to be bestsellers, what they're getting a lot of the times is not truly a bestseller. They might be getting very high on the free ebook Kindle downloads list, and they're saying, "Hey, look how high we are. We're a bestseller." Well, no, that's not a bestseller. Your book actually has to sell to be a bestseller.
Now, Marty, you brought up a real good point at the onset. You talked about how fast doesn't equal bad. And I think sometimes there's that perception that in the past people would promote, hey, you can write a book, write a book, write a book. And what they were really doing was taking transcripts. They were taking material off the web. They were taking speaking transcripts from when they did a web, they were on stage somewhere speaking, right? And they would take all that and they would just compile it and put it into a book and say, there's my book. And people don't like those. I mean, they're not cohesive. They're not structured. You're wondering what the heck you're reading. And those are bad books.
Well, so they sure don't make you money either, because the way you get paid on the ebook side of things, the way you get paid now on Amazon is when people read your book. If they only get to page 15 in your book, you're not going to get any money for that book.
Right.
So you have to craft the book in a way, in a process, in a sequence that people are inspired to read the whole book, because that's how you get paid. And just piling blog posts together isn't going to do it.
Right. But so I just wanted to clarify for everyone that that's not what we're talking about. When we're talking about getting a book created quickly, it's by using a quality process, right? A quality defined, proven process versus a compilation of garbage that's thrown into two covers and called a book. Right. So step one, create a good book, right? It can be quick, but it has to be good. And then step two is you get it published, and then you start going through this Amazon publication promotion process, right?
Well, now we have to back up, because the way that this can work, the way that I've tried a lot of different ways, and the way that works best for me is to start the process of creating the content of the book, and then create the content in such a way that all the content is produced inside of a week. 3, 4, 5 days. We just had this one woman, she's 88 years old, and started working on her book. She started her most recent business at 84 years old. She's already spoken in Dubai. She's spoken in Las Vegas. This lady has so much energy, more energy than most 5-year-olds. It's incredible. We started working on her book last Friday, and we worked on it Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday. And by the end of that time period, we were done with all her content. So now the content is in step 2, being edited. It'll be sent back to her. That's how fast things can happen. But I can tell already that just based on that process that we will have a launch date for the book on the first week of April, somewhere around there, whatever the Tuesday is. You always want to launch your book on a Tuesday. That's the best time to go on Amazon and launch. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But as soon as I know that, it's time to start promoting. I was telling Hazel, I said, that's her name, Hazel. I said, Hazel, you're going out to Vegas to a conference, and of course they're going to bring you up on stage to talk about your business. So when you get up there, start saying, hey, I started writing a book last week and all the content's done.
Right.
and it's almost like a life Bible. She's 88 years old and she doesn't take any medication. She can do 20 push-ups and 50 sit-ups and can do 15 deep knee bends. This is the kind of person we all want to be. So I said to Hazel, what is your secret? What is your method? And that's just an example. Everybody has a method, but she is on the path to having an Amazon bestseller, because she's already promoting the book, and we're still, it's not going to launch until April. So we have lots of time. So you don't write your book first and then say, okay, I'm going to start thinking about my launch now. No, you start the second you've determined. We don't have a book title yet. All we have is content, but she can start talking about her book. Every email you send out, have a postscript and a PS on the bottom. Watch for my book coming out April 5th or whatever it is. Everything you do has to have that coming soon, coming soon, coming soon. And that kind of...
it's your pre-launch cycle.
It's a pre-launch. And that kind of pre-launch process helps you recover some of your investment from creating the book. I
Okay.
mean, okay, so you go to a traditional publisher and you're going to wait for 14 months to get that book published unless you're an anchor on a news channel or you're a famous celebrity. They're going to kick that thing out in a couple of months for you, but most people, it doesn't work like that.
Right.
So we want to get the book out there quickly, and that's the process for it. But that pre-launch is very important.
Okay. When you are trying to find these headlines or these titles for the book, are you doing this in a process that helps you get to that bestseller status? So let me reframe that question. When you look at doing an article specifically for SEO optimization, so if you want to optimize an article, blog post, whatever, for a certain keyword phrase, you want to build that into your title. So you first go and research the keyword phrase, and then you put that into your title, and then you build that into the way you write the article. Now, is that similar to what you're talking about with taking this book and structuring it in a way that's going to get picked up by Amazon, and then you structure it in an interesting way so that it reads and flows through?
Yes to all of that. There's definitely a process to it, and where it all begins is research. You have to be willing to sit down on Amazon and look at the book titles that are in the categories that you're going after. Categories are important in Amazon. They have everything categorized in subcategories. So you want to find books that are similar to yours in those categories. And here we go again. Another thing that just popped into my mind is one of the techniques that is really important to use while you're writing your book is to research all those books that are out there surrounding your topic first, and read all the reviews. Read the reviews and see what people like, see what people dislike, see what people are saying. Oh, this book left out a whole component. I can't believe you leave that out and publish a book on Amazon, leave that part out. Now you know what to include in your book.
Right.
Now you know.
That's a really valuable tip right there.
What's that?
I said that's a really valuable tip. I hope people are picking up on that. As you go through the reviews, find out what the others are lacking, and then that tells you what you need to fill into your book in order to meet that need that people are complaining isn't being met already.
Sure.
That's a fantastic tip.
And your example before of so many people just combining blog posts and churning out books by the hundreds. Well, they're doing that. They're farming out books to India and Pakistan and all kinds of places that you give them a topic and they'll burn out 25 books for you in a month and call them, put your name on them and everything. But they're so horrible,
yes,
in most cases, that there is always room in your market for a really good book. And that's why it's easy to stand out. If you go through the wickets here, go through the process and create a quality book, yours is going to stand out. At least you have the potential of your book standing out.
Right. And I think that's again, that's another important aspect to writing the book is a ghostwriter and an editor. I mean, they can edit, they can make it look good, they can polish it up, but they're not you. They don't have your wealth of information in your particular subject matter. And if they were, they would write the book themselves, but they don't have that knowledge. So you can't just take a topic that you are an expert in, farm it off to somebody else and say, make me a book, because they don't have the knowledge. You need to have a process like what you're talking about, where you pull that information out of the expert in a specific way so that you can convert it into a written book.
Right.
But even you, right? You've written a bunch of books. You've helped other people write a bunch of books. You really wouldn't be able to write those books without that interview because you don't have that in-depth knowledge that they have.
Oh, I don't do that anymore. Oh, no. I do not write books anymore. When I wrote my first Web Marketing All-in-One for Dummies book, the only way I could actually write all my chapters was to stay up every Sunday night for 8 weeks.
Yeah,
all night.
Brutal.
And I had to have that urgency deadline looming over my head that if I didn't get my manuscript turned in for that chapter by noon the next day and get kicked out of the book. I mean, I had to have that urgency, but those days are over. I mean, you really don't need to do that. And I might have a term for it now. It says talking with a guy that does presentation training all over the world, and he's thinking about coming online with us, and that'll be a big deal if we do a whole series of books related on how to give better presentations at work and sales presentations. And I had to come up with a term because he kept bringing up the word interview too, and it's more than interviewing. So I started looking at what psychiatrists do, and psychiatrists have a term out there. They call it voice therapy.
Okay.
So voice therapy is allowing the patient to spew, and then the psychiatrist digs deeper and digs deeper and digs deeper. That's what I do. So this is kind of like voice therapy, but it's more voice recording. So there's a term in there that is going to be coined, and that's another step in this process, is that once you have a method, a sequence for your book, you need to coin a term. You need to coin a term that is all yours. I just coined on the back wall here. I know it's a little blurry, but you see a big picture of a dog, and that dog is my mascot. That is Action. It actually is a pretty big poster board that I bring all over the place with me to networking events, and I take Action networking events, I take Action to client meetings, I take Action everywhere. Next time you ever hear anybody talking about taking action, just look at that picture and remember that face of the dog, because I've put a name to the face. So Action is my coined term. So Action is actually an acronym. It's a 6-step process for integrating your book writing, your speaking, your internet marketing, your website, all that stuff all together in 6 steps. Nobody else has that acronym that they're using for what I do. So you need to come up with that coined phrase. So once you start, and getting to a point with all this, because once you have all these, the quality is there, the method is there, the coined phrase is there, now you have something to go out to people who have been around you for a long period of time. They know you, they know your business. Somebody trying to come on the call there?
Well, I muted my phone, but then Apple had bounced it over to my computer and made it ring on my computer. So, I thought I had everything covered, but, I missed one. So
hey, just before this, we were talking about, for the benefit of our audience here, just before this call started, we were talking about doing Zoom meetings and presenting on video, and the key to all this is doing it a lot. You want to get good at presenting on video, get on video 1,000 times and present something. I mean, that's how you get good at this, because you'll go through all of these different happenings and technological glitches and things you didn't expect, and then you'll know how to handle them next time. You just can't buy mileage with this presenting online stuff.
Yeah, there is, just on the off topic, there is some sort of hierarchy now that happens, between your Apple Watch, your phone, your iPads, your computers, your laptop, and I've got, at least 2 of each. So sometimes I'll get text message, I'll look, it's like, whoa, where'd that come from? And then you find it somewhere else. It popped in, but it didn't give you a notification on the device you were expecting. And then, of course, when you're in the car, it's linking up to your car system too. So
modern technology. But we can bring that back to the book launch process too, because that is exactly what it's like to create a launch team. And that's what you need to do next, is once you have your date, once you have your content being built, you're working on your book cover, you were talking about titles, you need to start creating that launch team. And I would recommend, and this is the time, this is what separates people from those who attain bestseller status and those who don't, is the number of people on your launch team and the quality of them. You don't want to just get your mom and dad to be on your launch team. It's not about that. You need to find connectors. You need to think of who your audience is that is going to read this book and connect with them. One of the books we just launched right before Christmas is for teenage umpires to start working and making money, and instead of flipping burgers. Well, we had a large city buy a bunch of books to train all their umpires coming in the spring. So now we're working together to roll out this book to all the cities around the country, because finding umpires for baseball is a major trouble spot there in cities around the country. So that's just an example how we're building this team of people to go out and recommend this book to others. And that's more of a long-term thing, but you can create your launch team so that everybody coordinates on the same day to promote this book to their audiences. And I'd say, really, I mean, just
okay, so why is that important? Why do you need people to promote on the same day? What's the difference whether they promote 10 people on one day versus 10 people over 10 days? Who cares?
Well, you want to have a strong launch. You've been pregnant for all this time building your book. You need to give birth to this baby and give it a good head start.
Okay.
Is there a pun in there somewhere?
Yeah, I think you did. Make like a baby and head out.
But
okay.
the idea is that you want to have a solid launch within even a 48-hour period, because that's what Amazon looks for upcoming books. Now, you don't just go out and launch your book on the day that you want your launch. You want to build up to that. Amazon has a really nice feature where you can have up to a 5-day free promotion of your book. So you put your book onto Kindle and onto CreateSpace so that people can buy printed
version.
And then you roll out the link to the book, because nobody knows it's there. It's on Kindle, it's on Amazon, but nobody knows it's there until you start really promoting it. So what I like to do is on a Saturday morning, I will send the link out to my launch team, which is, I mean, really, you want to have 50 people on board to help you with your launch team, because that particular weekend, things come up, people wind up traveling, you never know. You'll be lucky if you get 15 to 20 people that are actively actually participating in your book launch. So go for 50, and maybe you'll get half. So start on Saturday, send the link out to them and say, okay, go download this book for free. And the sole purpose for that is you want them to give you a review. And you want that to be a 5-star review. And you know what I found? Amazon is really getting more strict on reviews. I know a lot of people that just heard me say, oh, you're just sending a request for a review to people you know. Well, Amazon, if you are so close to them, like if it's your brother with the same name, same last name, they won't even accept the review. So these have to be people that would. I'm not really sure what the method is that Amazon uses to determine, but I know what they don't like. They don't like you to be linked. They don't like you to be. I'm worried about these author groups that are on Facebook, because I've joined a couple of them.
Oh, right.
A lot of promotions where authors are saying, go link my author page, go like my author page on Facebook, and then I'll reciprocate and like your Facebook page too. And now you're building authors and authors and authors. Amazon can so easily see that you have a tie with these people. So the best people that you can get to review your book are people that are related to your industry, but you're not so close to them that Amazon could easily figure out that you're together. Right. Like a business partner. Well, of course, a business partner would. They're on my website with all these this list of people that work with me. Amazon might catch on to that, and they might go through the process of adding a review, but then not post that review, not allow it to post. So you need to kind of strategize how you're going to get those reviews. But this is all before the launch. I mean, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, you're trying to get reviews by sending out this free version of the book, and then it rolls over. On Monday, you change that pricing to 99 cents.
Okay.
And then you're still promoting. You're still now you're asking your launch team to say, hey, have everybody go get this book, go check it out. Something I missed though is that what I've discovered is that a lot of people that you send your link to, even if you are close, they're not going to give you a review unless that is the quality book. So I kind of think Amazon's missing the boat a little bit if they're becoming so strict.
And they don't want to tie their name to a bad book because that's their reputation on the line then.
Absolutely, that's exactly right. So I would suggest still going to people and trying to get that review. They might go through the work of paging through your book and reading it and posting the review, and then it might not get posted right away, or it might take 4 or 5 days for the actual review to show up. That's happened as well. But at least go after them and say, my book is there, here are the benefits to it, I think you'll really learn something, it's a valuable product, you'll enjoy it. Now I get the...
Oh, see, now you got it.
The interruption. There are always interruptions. So,
actually, that was me calling you just so I didn't feel bad.
Yeah.
I had to pull the heat off of me. So let's back up just 1 minute, Marty. So we talked about the fact that you need to get this launch going, and you want to get it all in one day. You don't want to dribble it out. And I want you to touch on that just a little bit more. Is there a benefit to getting a big surge so that in the Amazon algorithm, it puts you higher up in the related books or higher up in the category? Or what's the real benefit to getting that immediate bump instead of dribbling it out?
Yeah, well, because Amazon recognizes that you've got something hot that people are interested in. And Amazon is a business. They want to make money. So they're going to increase your position on their books. So if you've got 300 books in your category, they're going to bump you up, maybe not to the top of the list, but you're going to be increased a little bit at the start. Just because you get 1 or 2 reviews, you don't even need sales yet, but it'll increase. Right. That position, and that's where Amazon attempts to help you sell more books. Amazon wants you to sell books, so they want to help you the best they can, but they have to spend their energy and resources promoting only books that are actively being promoted. They're hot topics. People want that topic. It's in demand. So they are selective with how they do that. And one of the things that raises attention of your book is getting those reviews and then rolling it out within a short amount of time. And that's how, how a lot of people get Amazon bestseller status in a single day. It might only be for that day or maybe the next day too. And it's kind of a weird little rule that Amazon has, is as long as you get that #1 position for 20 seconds, you are officially an Amazon bestseller.
Okay.
It's kind of, I don't know if I want to use the word sleazy, but it's kind of misleading because that's not the definition in my mind about what a real bestseller is. A real bestseller is one that does stand the test of time and has sold more than 1,000 books. But all these subcategories, you can get Amazon bestseller if you sell 100, 150 books, maybe 200, and there's no cast in stone rule. If you have a category that just doesn't have a lot of books, you could sell 60 and still get Amazon bestseller in a single day. So a lot of speakers, professional speakers, upcoming speakers, like to go after getting that #1 Amazon bestseller so that they can take a screenshot and say, here I am in the #1 spot, and then they can put that on their website, they can put that in their one sheet that they're sending out to meeting and event planners, and that helps them get speaking gigs. And that's true. The question is, do you have, or is it important enough, or do you have the stamina to continue that Amazon bestseller status? So that's going to be another, we'll talk about that, the post-launch process in a different meeting like this, but that's really where I'm looking for 2018, is having the consistency of sales and building that book into the rest of the business and helping each client that we work with to build their book into their speaking platform, into their web marketing, into their SEO, all of that, because it all works together. It's so many people are just, they've got all that in place, and then they decide to write a book. And they
Right,
forget
right.
they should be integrating this into everything. They're
To be
missing
all part of the system.
the process.
Yeah, it's basically your sales funnel, right? It's all components of your sales funnel. So they all should work together. Otherwise, you've got a bunch of pieces, but nothing actually flowing together.
That's right.
Okay, so we are coming up on the 30-minute mark. We started 2 minutes late, so we've got 1 more minute. Is there anything else that you want to cover as far as Amazon before we
we haven't even gotten
bust
to
off
launch
into
day yet.
questions?
I mean, we talked about having people become part of your launch team. They get a free copy of your book. They add a review. And then on Monday or Tuesday, depending, or on even Sunday sometimes, you might decide to roll that price over to 99 cents because you've gotten so many reviews. You're on top of the free downloads list. So that's looking good. And now you roll over to 99 cents. Takes about 6 or 7 hours or so for Amazon to change the price for you. Once you go in and change it, has to show up and then have the new price. So that's going to happen again for your actual launch day on Tuesday, where you want to make that book price depending on your book. You know, I've got a client that sells her book for $67 a piece, but most books that you put out there on Amazon, they're going to be in the 4 to maybe even 2, but I like to shoot for the $4 to $6 range, and you can test. You can just see how the sales react to your testing of different prices. So you can start at 99 cents, go up to $1.99, go to $2.99, $3.99. Just watch your sales, and then find that perfect sales price. And that's just for the ebook. But I'll just kind of give a bonus that every ebook out there should have a soft cover book on CreateSpace too, so that people can buy those, because that's where you want to make money with your books. That's where you'll make the money. There is a resurgence in people buying soft cover books, hard printed books. They've gotten past the ebook craze, and now they're going back to buying hard copy books. This city that I was telling you, they bought all soft cover books. So they went in there and bought a big batch of them, and that's what people are doing now. So you can do the same thing. Anytime you're at a networking event, you should always have 3 or 4 of your books and just put them out on the table. And people see your picture on your book and say, "Oh, you have a book? I want to talk to you."
Yeah, that's a good point.
People definitely put you on a pedestal when you have a book.
Yeah, and plus, with the resurgence of the printed book, it's a lot more convenient to take a printed book down to the pool on vacation or out to the beach or read it on an airplane. And you don't want to take those electronic items down to those locations. So it makes sense that the printed book is going to fit that type of niche. Yeah. So let's go back to your pricing though. When you come out, you take the free book, right? And you get the reviews. The next step, you're putting it at 99 cents, and then you're testing your price points on the way up. Yep. Are you putting it at 99 cents on the launch date just to get the maximum number of sales? And is 99 cents the lowest price you can put on a sold book versus a free book?
Well, that's the standard. 99 cents is the standard. There's a cutoff where you get a certain percentage of the sale for there's like a breaking point where you get more. So you want to get over that threshold where you get more commission per sale. But the more important thing is that you are in a launch process. So you have your launch team sending emails out to people saying, "Go check out this book, go check out this book. It's free, but it's going to change tomorrow. So you got to go get it." And then they get there tomorrow and they say, "Oh man, I wish I saw this earlier, but it's only 99 cents. I'll fork over that and I'll try the book." Well, the same thing happens. Now you send out another email or a posting on Facebook. You got to go get this book. They raised the price already to 99 cents. Tomorrow it's going up to $2.99. I just heard, and you are the leader of that launch.
Right.
So you are the one creating all these posts for your launch team to copy and paste and put out there on Facebook and Twitter and all their Periscope and all their different outlets of social media and emailing to their list. They're not just coming up with this stuff. You have to
of course. You got to make it easy for them.
Yeah. So again, here we get into wow, that sounds like a lot of work, Marty. Well, yeah, it is. But if you truly want an Amazon bestseller, it's just a game. I mean, you're going to go play a football game. You're not just going to go out there and do it. You're going to practice, and you're going to create plays, and you're going to get your whole team together, and you're going to go out there at the same time. It's the same thing as any sport. You have to work this process, but the game itself, it's not rocket science. You just have to kind of go through the process.
Well, and it's no different than a traditional publisher. A traditional publisher, you don't hand it to them and they go off and do all this work for you. The publishers will only publish your book if you can guarantee to them that you're going to do all the work, that you have a big list, that you're going to get on TV, that you're going to go promote it. So it's really not like you're doing more than going the traditional route. You're doing maybe the same, maybe even less than what you would have to do to get your book published and give them all the money. So at least this way you get to keep the money that you're earning to a much higher degree.
It is a disheartening realization to go through all the work to get published through a traditional publisher, only to find out how little they do to promote your book. Unless you're a newscaster or some kind of celebrity, then, oh yeah, you're all over the place. But no, it just doesn't work that way for most people. So yeah,
right.
You do a lot of, and if your book doesn't sell, then you don't get asked back to do another book with that publisher. And that's your sole purpose with book number 1, is to be invited back to produce book number 2. Well, by the time that happens, 2 years has gone by, and you could have used this method to churn out 20 books and just dominate your whole industry. Right. And that's what I'd like people to really walk away with today is, the book launch process is there. It's a game. You can hire somebody to do it for you. We manage book launches, but you've got to really decide how important that is to you, because it does take a lot of time, and it takes weekend work. You're working all day Saturday, all day Sunday, Monday and Tuesday. You can't do anything on those days. You are glued to your computer for a week. And then again, we haven't even talked about post-launch yet. So there are a lot of pieces and parts involved with that. That's true. The sequence is simple. I mean, it's fun. It really is fun to get a lot of people together, and you're doing this activity to promote your book. I mean, it's awesome. But yet at the same time, I'd like people to think of how this is going to apply to their business. You might sell 300, 400, 500 books, big deal. But someone who reads that book and comes to you and says, hey, I want to hire you for $10,000. I mean, that's where a book comes in.
That's where the money is.
And that happens. It happens all the time. So once you have that book, you should be taking that book with you everywhere, and you should be already thinking about your next book. Immediately, you should be having the sight in your mind of having at least 5 books out there, all circling around your topic of expertise. And that is how you dominate your industry as the recognized authority in that field.
Okay. Well, let's grab some questions here. And because we are a little bit over time, but that's okay, because we had a couple phone call interruptions, didn't we? So I guess we owe a few minutes. But one question here is a little, what do you think is going to happen with the Amazon retail stores? Will your book ever get into the Amazon retail store?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Okay.
I only know what I know, and if I don't, I'm very upfront about it that I'd have to research it. And there's also another thing coming out called C-Books, which is the C stands for cinematic. So now people are reading content, and then they can click on a video to support the content that you've just written. So with Amazon, these are just links to videos outside, but with some publishers, those are all in line now. So that's something to watch.
So it's embedded.
Do I know everything about that? No, I just heard about it. Okay. So, but I definitely see that Amazon is going to selectively bring books into their stores, just like Barnes & Noble will. And the funny thing is I'm sure they'll do the same thing. They'll have one book, one of your books. You'll have one book, and if that sells, they'll restock it with another. And that's it. I mean, you're not going to have a table full of books in there. That's how all the bookstores are doing it. Yeah.
All right.
But
Actually,
it's
there's
gonna
a
be
question on that topic, Marty.
Yeah.
There's more of a technical question on that topic. Can you put links? You mentioned the cinematic links. Can you put links into your Kindle book that people can click on so that they can get to your videos, to almost like here's what I've written, and then click off to it and get to your video of here's me speaking about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll throw in an additional pitch for CloudNet 360, because what you should be doing with these books is you should be having a link to a landing page where you're giving a username and password for people to log in to a area in Members Pro that you've created that also allows for additional watching of videos that you've selected, just making pages inside Members Pro, and then having links in there for people to go to, and you're updating that all the time, so it encourages people to opt into your list and to look at the new content that you've had, use the autoresponders and to bring people in, give them access to things, step at 1 week at a time, all kinds of things you can do with Members Pro, and that gets people onto your list. So now you're building that funnel. Now you're building that following of that tribe of people, and it's increasing your opt-in list as well.
Okay. Another question here. What are the books that never work?
Books that never work are, you shouldn't ever say never. You shouldn't ever say never, first of all. You don't know. You don't know for sure if a book is going to work or not until you write the book. But you can get an idea for what the sales are like by doing that research. They will always list the most active sellers, I didn't say bestsellers, the most active sellers for that particular week on the top of your search results. You can go search for a type of book that you're looking for or that you're thinking about writing and see what your competition is, and you'll be able to tell from there based on the number of reviews and where they are. You scroll down a little bit more, you actually go into the book page and then scroll down a little bit more, and you'll be able to see what number of in the sales volume in their category is, and then you can start, because Amazon doesn't tell you specifics, of course, right? But they will give you hints if you go research the books and look at the reviews. The reviews tell a lot.
Okay.
Oh, let me just expand on that a little bit. Like I said, we could go on and on and on with this topic. I realize that, but there's one thing people really have to understand is that there are soft topics and there are hard topics. Hard topic is something that is quantifiable, making money, losing weight, all those kind of things. The soft topic are your romance novels. So you've got the two total extremes. You will have a higher potential of people buying a book if you can quantify, get closer to that hard topic. I didn't say it has to be always making money. I mean, this Teenage Umpire book is technically about making money, but it's really more about getting a job. So it doesn't
teach them how to make money as the umpire.
Yeah, it doesn't always have to be getting your website to the top of Google and that kind of internet marketing stigma that's attached to making money online. But the closer you can get to something that is quantifiable, or even with your topic, if you can make it quantifiable somehow so that people will walk out with something that they can improve quantitatively, then you'll have a better chance at selling that book. The novels are hard. I don't work with fiction at all. Novels are really difficult, and you really need to research some of the writing groups and see what they're doing to get their sales. But that's a tough market when you get into this.
All right, here's a question. Comment on using royalty-free images versus no images in your book, especially ebooks or black and white print books. Images break up the copy. You can cite the source, but from a publication standpoint, do you recommend using images or just text?
That's a great question. And my answer to any images and photos is that you should take them yourself, or have a photographer take pictures of you, take pictures of your product. In a book, you just don't want to take a chance with any images that are out there. Matter of fact, with Kindle books, if your first route is to go a Kindle book and you're really just wanting to put your process into a sequence, into a book, then you shouldn't even use pictures at all or images. There's really not a lot of benefit to that in the style of writing that we're trying to get people to read the whole book.
Okay.
No pictures at all, no images. People just want the content. Get me in the book, get me out. They don't need a lot of photos. And every time you add new photos and images, that creates a greater download. It's a bigger file, right?
Right,
so
right.
Amazon is going to pay you less per download than if you have a book that doesn't have images, because they need to recoup the cost, they claim,
Right.
all the bandwidth that your book is sucking up by having 75 illustrated huge photos in there. You don't need to do that. Maybe one or two, but they should always be your own, because there are definitely companies out there that will come after you, and they'll just send you a threatening letter saying, pay us $995 for that image that you stole from somebody's website, or come to court. And of course, you're going to settle and you're just going to pay the thing. But if you have 25 pictures in there, then you're fair game. Now, I don't think
you can buy images too, but you have to watch the licensing. You have to watch the licensing agreement, because when you buy an image, you can use it for something, but often you can't use it for something else. So you really have to watch the licensing agreement on each and every image you buy, because even from the same website, we buy images all the time to put into our LinkedIn articles, blog post articles. You can use them very inexpensively in that type of application because it's more editorial. But as soon as you want to make a product out of it, if you want to use it as part of let's say a print on a t-shirt, or, again, into your book, now you've turned it into a product. So now it's a different commercial license. So you have to be very careful about reading the licensing agreement for each and every image, because again, it's not even just the website, it's each image on the website.
And book covers too, because you're going to want some kind of imagery on your book covers, and that's where a lot of people buy stock photos, and a lot of people don't like stock photos. If you don't have an original photo, they just kind of think you're kind of amateur.
Right.
But designers will go out and they'll find one or two or three images that they will purchase rights to, and then they'll make a little collage and build that in as part of their original design. So that's fine, but it does turn into a quantity issue. I don't know what the cutoff is for number of purchases made, but that's how the licenses work. So if you're going to make over 20,000 sales or something, then you have to pay a different licensing fee. But the point is that you need to get proof from your designer that you have rights to those images, right? Because that can come back to haunt you. So, a lot of people go to Fiverr or someplace and they pay their $10 to get a cover made, and then you've got this stock photo that was just stolen, and you have absolutely no recourse. Right. So you do have to be very careful about those photos. I require that when we make a book cover for one of our clients, that they supply the imagery to me. So the licensing is put on to them.
Put onto them.
Liability with books that we're making for people. So you need to figure out what the licensing is and find your own resource for those images. But I always suggest, depending on the type of book, is to make photos yourself. Make photos of your business. If you're a consultant, get one of your clients at a Panera Bread or some kind of coffee place and sit at a table with a computer and get somebody to take your picture with you on the cover and the client. Make it very personal to you, because it's your method that you're showcasing in the book.
Yeah, I mean that's a really important point. There are so many people stealing images. And you, as the website owner, as the product owner, as the book owner, you are the one responsible for it. So you have to be extremely careful with using these random graphic designers. So you want to get a relationship with a graphic designer that you like, that you trust, that knows that your business is important to you and they can't take shortcuts and steal images. Yep. And you have to watch it even in videos, because these image search engines that have been created, I think Stock Photo, I can't remember exactly which one, but it's one of the big name photo guys. They are actually going through and scanning video. So if you put a video an image inside one of your videos, they'll find that as well. And they will find pieces of the images as well. So you don't even get away with taking an image, slicing a part out of it, and then putting it into your video or putting it into something else. They will find that slice. And again, you will be responsible for it. So make sure you have clear rights to that image with the proper agreement, the proper license, the proper everything, because it gets very expensive very quickly.
Well, in speaking as well. I mean, hopefully, I always say to people, if you write a good enough book, eventually you're going to be asked to speak about it. So if there's anybody out there saying, oh, I want to just write my book and sit back and collect all the money from all my, #1 Amazon bestseller, it doesn't work like that. You need to get out there and be in the public eye and be visible and get on stage, get on webinars like this and show people that you're a real person. So one of the reasons I'm on here is because I'm about to launch my 2018 campaign for this action system that I've put together that works for anybody starting or expanding a business. All you have to do is go through these 6 steps, and it is fail-proof. There's just no way you can't get more leads and sales if you use this 6-step process. I've been doing it for 20 years, and guaranteed somebody is going to send an email to me. They're going to track me down. They're going to go to herenextyear.com. That's my main website, HERENEXTYEAR.com. I just got tired of everybody asking if I'd be around in 6 months.
Right.
Here next year. It's been there forever. So 20 years. Somebody's going to go there. We're going to strike up a conversation because they saw me here. You have to be visible. And it all ties in with writing the book. You get your book, you're going to be able to become more visible and get on stages and promote. But when you do that and you give a PowerPoint presentation, you're going to use images too. And so this all comes back to being very careful that you have rights to use those images when you get in the public eye. Because it's only when you start getting popular that someone is going to come after you. If you're only selling 10 books a year, nobody cares.
But when you finally have money to collect from you, that's when they will come.
Exactly. That's right. When they see you getting successful, that's when people come out of the woodwork and say, how can I get a piece of that? Yep. So you have to be careful with these images and videos as well. But use videos and presentations too. So there's a lot to it. And that's why it really helps to have somebody that is in your corner that works with all this stuff on a daily basis. So that's the best part of my job is I love to find out about these new things coming out and see how people are affected by them. And there's just so much. I mean, you can't buy mileage. If you're going to learn all this stuff yourself, you just have to go through the wickets one step at a time, do a lot of testing, go to a lot of conferences, learn from people, test and try things. And like I said, anybody can become an Amazon bestseller. You just have to know how to play the game. Right.
Well, I'll tell one quick story about the graphics. When we created Soccer Labs, I went in and the guy that I normally use, we've got a husband-wife team out of Sweden that we normally use. And for some reason, they weren't available. I don't remember what the deal was, but they were tied up. They couldn't do it. So I said, okay, I'll go to Fiverr. I wrote up the description. I said, look, we want a logo. This is the concept we want, but it has to be original artwork. It has to be hand-drawn original artwork. We went to only artists that had, basically drawn artwork in their portfolio. And sure enough, we got a logo. We liked it. It was great, simple, clean. And then last year I was out at the NSCAA show, trade show for soccer. And I come around on the last day on the last aisle, and there's somebody with the exact same portion, not the logo, but the portion, the soccer ball. And there it was, like, son of a gun. So, so of course I went back to our normal guys. Now they were available. I said, hey, redraw this part for me. Right. And now it's original artwork. So it's ours. We own it. We can copyright it. We can trademark it. We can do all those things. And most importantly, no one can ever come back to us and say, hey, that's ours. Right. And, the point of this story is even if you give people instructions, even if you go to Fiverr and tell them, specifically what you want, you've got to find someone you can trust. And it's probably not going to be on Fiverr. It just isn't. Okay. I don't want to knock the whole system because they have some good people there, but it's so risky. and it's your business, it's your money, right? In the end, that's going to suffer if you make a mistake. So get people you trust. I mean, Marty, you probably have a team. You've been using the same people over and over, just like we do here.
For years. Yep.
Yeah. And that keeps you out of trouble. It really does. I don't care whether it's a domestic person or a Fiverr person, graphics aren't that expensive, right? You spend $5, $10, $25. Anything you're getting on Fiverr for $5 is worth exactly what you pay for it. You're going to pay more anyhow for the better people. And at that point, you may as well just be face to face with the person and work with a tried and true, designer. Okay, I'm off that soapbox, but it is an important topic. So anyhow, let's close up with this webinar with getting back to Amazon. So just to recap, we're going to build the book in a defined interview, in-depth information extraction process. We're going to do a pre-launch even before that book is ready to roll, while it's still in editing, while it's still being rehashed, reviewed, redone, reassembled. You're going to be out there pre-promoting this book, a pre-launch, so to speak. Yep. Now, when you get it onto Amazon, you're going to have a launch team. So you're going to have your launch team going out and 5 days before, getting the book, downloading it for free, getting the reviews up and posted. And so on launch date, on Tuesday, you're going to launch it. You're going to change the price to $99. So now it's not just most downloaded. It is a sold book, not just a downloaded book. Right. And then you're going to start testing your prices, going from 99 cents up to whatever the market will tolerate. And, there's that curve of how much money you're making and, where you want to position it and all the rest of it. And in the end, of course, there is a post-production, which we're not going to get into here. I mean, a post-launch, which we won't get into here, but we will cover it in the next webinar that we have on this, what I think is a very interesting topic. And in between, you will make money with the book. You will make money by selling the book. You will make money by promoting yourself and becoming that expert author.
Yep. And matter of fact, Gary, I'll even throw in something that if anyone, because that's a lot. I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, is somebody actually writing that all down?
Okay.
I have a little cheat.
Hold on. The simple answer is there's a process you've created. Okay. Yeah. And we've talked about getting a good partner in graphics. If you're a great graphic artist, great. You don't need to have a good partner in a graphic arts. Okay. We don't have to tell you exactly what to do. You have the ability to do it yourself. If you want to write a book, you can either figure this all out yourself. You can take this information and try to piece it together, which this is substantial information. This is not just, hey, come to my webinar and I'll sell you more stuff, right? But if you want to get this done quickly, Marty's already figured it out. Talk to him. See if it fits with what you need within your time frame, within your budget. And look, there's nothing wrong with selling stuff. We're not here every day. You're not doing your business every day not to sell stuff. As long as you give a great value, that's fine. It's a fair exchange. So we're not hiding the fact that in the end, I want you to use CloudNet 360. We're doing these webinars so you learn more about our product and hopefully you buy it. Marty's giving you all this great information for free, taking his time for free in the hopes that, hey, some of you are just going to take it and do it yourself. And then others of you are going to want to shortcut the process and get help. So give them a call. And Marty, with that segue, how should they contact you?
Well, at least even if you want to do this yourself, I have a checklist that I follow whenever we do these. It's short, it's one-liners, it's not a detailed book and a book launch. That's coming because I know a lot of people, they're just not in a financial position to hire a project manager to help with all this. That's fine. So I have a process. I'm happy to send that to you. If you go to herenextyear.com, find the contact form and just send a request and I will reply to it personally and I will give that document to you. I think I've met so many people that use CloudNet 360, or I think I'm in my 7th year now of using the system. Back when it was Premium Webcart, you didn't even have a CRM back then. Right. I have met so many people. This is definitely a family of people. And so we have this whole other area to explore of not just about book sales and building a business, but it's how CloudNet 360 itself can help with that. And there are just so many ways. So we should be in contact with each other anyway by requesting that document, that's a good way to go. Or heck, you can just send a text message to my phone at 303-913-4813. Again, that number is 303-913-4813. And that number is all over the place on social media. So I never pick it up when somebody calls unless you're in my contact list. So you've got to put something in that text message that says book,
right?
Or just something related to that, so that I know what you're texting something to me and you're a real person. So I get so many calls on this cell phone, but it's a great way to do it. I mean, I kind of share by example. I do things and I say, here, this is what I do. And I've just kind of bypassed the whole email thing with people. If you want to get in contact with me, call my cell phone. And you should try that too, because that's how people communicate now. It's all texting on the phone, chatting on Facebook. I just had somebody contact me yesterday on LinkedIn from the direct mail, and we started chatting, turned into a phone call. Email is just sending an email to people is one way to do it. Like, we let you know about this event today.
Right.
Use email, so it's an important part, but you need to start incorporating texting and getting people into your phone list, your contact list. It's a great way to go.
Right. So there's one last question. How do we get the first webinar recording? We have that published on our CloudNet 360 user group, so it's there for you. And we'll also publish this video onto that CloudNet 360 user group, so it's always there for you as well. And oh, go ahead, Marty.
No, I was agreeing. That's a good way to do it. You're stockpiling videos so people can go to a library and get access to those. Yep.
Right. So we are at our hour. Normally we stop at 30 minutes and then we go to Q&A. We kind of blended Q&A into some of this information. So that's okay, but we are at an hour, so we're going to drop off now. I want to thank everyone for showing up. Marty, I want to thank you for coming in again and providing some good meaty content. I think we're all tired of the, hey, come to my webinar and I'll tell you more. And you get there and they say, hey, buy my stuff and I'll tell you more. Yeah. We don't want to do that. We want to make sure you guys walk away with something meaty. And I really appreciate you putting real facts, real information, real dates, real processes on the table, so that if people did want to go off and do this themselves, if they are tight on time, on budget or whatever, they can do it. And you've given them great information. So I really appreciate that attitude and that amount of information that you've brought to this webinar. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having these sessions. I mean, CloudNet 360 is a tool, and for the longest time, that's all we saw was a tool. And you find out that there are people in the back of CloudNet 360, and once you start meeting them, you realize, I mean, they really want your success to be present in 2018 by what they're doing. And this is a great display of you being public and trying to get messages out to your customers. And I mean, everybody, every user of CloudNet 360 that owns a business has a method that you are the expert at. You should be on one of these meetings telling people what your method is, and getting them interested so that they can connect. I mean, that whole connection is what makes businesses grow and expand. That's what you need to be doing. You need to be visible out there.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you. Everyone have a great day and look forward to seeing you in the next webinar. Bye now.
Sounds good. Have a good week, everybody.